Hello. It's been a little while since I did my last video, so um, I need to recap just a little bit, probably, which is we are Project 2045, and we are trying to bring us together to create a statement of values, not a statement of politics, but a statement of what sort of nation would we like to live in? And then how can we make that happen? So obviously government is a part of this. Although today you wouldn't really know that because our government hasn't actually done anything for the last 8 years or so. As soon as you get a divided government, it's like really hard to make anything happen. And government never used to be that way. In the past, the Democrats and the Republicans would be able to uh, communicate with each other and come up with plans that incorporated ideas from both sides. So obviously we have a problem because we are so divided. But these days it's even more than that because even like the Republican Party is very divided right now. Um, and the Democratic Party is also divided, although they manage to keep it together and essentially usually vote together in Congress and in the Senate. But the parties are a big part of the problem. We should never have gone just to parties. It would have been much better if we'd had maybe a lot of independence in the government all the way along. Because people don't fall into those two categories. People just don't. And if you're a party, say if you're a Democratic Party, then you have certain goals that you want fulfilled. Same thing if you're in, Republican Party. So they have to narrow things down to very specific policies in order to use their collective force together to make things go in the way that they want them to go. But this isn't what we want, actually. Our government is not supposed to be deciding things for us. We are supposed to be able to decide things and tell the government, and then, of course, the government can, put in their ideas, no problem. But they shouldn't be taking over completely. They shouldn't be trying to control us. They should be working with the population. So we have to figure out a way that people can have a voice in government because we really don't have much of a voice right now. So yesterday I was in a coffee shop with a session with our state representative, um, and he met with, I would say, about maybe 15 people. And while we were there, actually, then our local state senator came in just to have coffee with somebody else. So, because we are very local, it's actually pretty easy to reach our local government, our state government. But that doesn't always hold. That's not true in many cases. In our case, we're a very small state, and so our county is even smaller. And so, it's not all that hard to actually reach somebody in politics, but it's often not the case. So, when we're talking about government, then I want to talk um, about some of the ways that states have tried to overcome this problem of having the people's ideas essentially shut out. And for instance, I want to talk about citizens' ballot initiatives, the propositions like the California propositions, which are voted on by the public. And there's also, like, today, there's quite a lot of states that have had a referendum on abortion and have actually overturned some of the Republican bans on abortion in their states. So, yes, but there are also problems with that too. So, we need to look at some of the problems and see if we can come up with a plan that will avoid some of the problems. And one of the biggest problems is the fact that most people are not engaged anyway. And that's, of course, partly because over, say, 20, 30 years, 40 years, people have been so busy just trying to make money, survive, that they actually don't feel able to participate in anything bigger than just their own survival. So we have to look very deeply at that. And, part of what Project 2045 is doing is trying to come up with an economic system that values every single person. I already put in a video, I forget what it was called, something like an economic system that satisfies everybody, or something like that, a few videos back. But we can't let anybody just be living in order working to survive. That's not right. People are more than that. Every single person is valuable. So we have to figure out a system that recognizes that and that hears the voice of every person. And then on top of that, of course, the Senate and the Congress and the executive branch, they're not the only government around anymore. There's a lot of governmental agencies that, have a huge impact on life. Um, the IRS, right? The IRS uh, can penalize us, probably put us in jail. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could. um, like the police, maybe not, the regular police, but sometimes today police can go and arrest somebody like in the middle of the night with this, you know, like militarily armed SWAT team or whatever. And why are we allowing that? Sometimes, of course, it's necessary because they expect to be dealing with people, who are heavily armed and will fight back. But there are times when it's just simply not necessary. And also, there are times when it could have been done at a different place and time when there were not children sleeping in a house who are woken up by the invasion of a police SWAT force. So, there's a lot of things that we need to work out. And I'm sort of planning maybe on the next 2 or 3 videos at least to talk about government. It's it's obviously time to talk about government right now because we have the election very close. Right today it's like October the 12th, maybe something like that. And clearly we do not want to be spending billions of dollars just on an election every time. And we also don't want it to dominate the airwaves and dominate our lives for months and years. That's just too much. So again, we have to figure out ways that we can get around this, and we can, because most countries manage it without any problem.